Hello everyone, I'm Rachel Tessman from stampyourartout.com and I'm here to bring you another live paper crafting class. It is, what day is it? It's October 13th. My goodness. October 13th, Wednesday at 11 a.m. Central Time as I'm coming to you live. And I have two cards to share, so we're gonna go fast. I couldn't decide which one to do, and both of them introduce a new collection of products called Eden's Garden. It's a stamp set, a set of dies, a set of designer paper. There's some cotton paper in there, and then there's some embellishments that are not yet quite available for us demonstrators, but we were able to pre-order this stuff, which means we can order it now, and everyone else has to wait a little bit longer. November 2nd is when these items will become available to everyone. So I am going to, let's see here, I'm going to go ahead and actually go right to comments from last week. I know we're going fast, you guys. Are you ready? Hang on tight. Okay, here we go. Let me shrink down my head. You guys can't see what I'm doing back here, but sorry I was a couple minutes late, by the way. I went through the comments and forgot to organize them. I usually try to organize my little screenshot clips of the comments, and I forgot to do that. So in the 5 minutes before this video, I'm like, oh shoot. So yes, I was trying to remember who said hello to us for the first time. I love it when you put emojis in there because it's just so much fun to read. But anyways, yes, catching you live from Germany. I love to see where you're from. It's so fun, you guys. Brina, I haven't seen your name pop up for a while, so it was really nice to see your name. I read the names, I read the comments. You guys, I just love this. What else do I want to highlight from last time? So, oh, Sandy and a few of you were commenting what you were doing while you were watching my video. That's always entertaining for me too. So yes, as you're commenting on these videos, make sure that you tell me what's going on besides watching the video. I mean, are you baking cookies? Are you gardening? Are you shoveling snow? Because we're getting to that point, right? And let's see here. Oh, Sue, I loved how you said it was a tunnel card. So that brings me to letting you know that sometimes you see a card out there and you're like, what is the name of this fun fold? What is the name of this technique? And I have to tell you that there's no dictionary or encyclopedia or reference book out there that says this is what this kind of card is. But a lot of us crafters try to use the same sort of names. Now, I took the name from the Jennifer McGuire video, which inspired that fun fold card, which I called the pop-out window card. And then Sue brought in the tunnel card. I love that name too. So great names. Okay, what else? Then you all got on your math comments. That was so fun to read too. Talking about how Rachel is me, how I love math so much, but how a lot of you are overwhelmed by it sometimes. Fasten your seatbelt. And then you loved how I commented about just a smidge smaller or whatever. Lisa up at the top here said one tick less than or one click. So yeah, just use what works for you when you're describing that 1/16 of an inch. And Linda, I love that too, because we do go through those phases where especially as a kid, math is an abstract subject. So kids that are much younger, they need those tactile, hands-on ways of learning math. And then as you get older and older, the algorithms tend to make sense because your mind becomes more abstract, or the ability to think abstractly, I should say. So as long as we put those manipulatives into kids' hands, I think more kids are going to learn math a lot better. But anyways, yes, it's easier once you have something to apply it to too, like crafting or sewing or cooking. And then a bunch of you were saying what other dies would work to make that pop-out window / tunnel card. And so I thought I would just go over to my dies here and grab those. And then Shirley was talking about the broken magnets. So yes, if you have broken magnets, don't throw them away. That's a great tip, Shirley, because you can use the little ones too. Just wrap them in tape again or washi tape or duct tape or whatever so that they aren't sharp or whatever. And then you can take and use them so that you have multiple magnets. I loved that. Okay, I'm going to move this out of the way. Let's give a big welcome to Trisha Josephs. Trisha Josephs is our moderator. So she's the one watching comments during the live and helping to answer your questions, which is why I don't need to answer a bunch of questions when I post them the week later. She takes care of us so well. So thank you, Trisha, for being with us once again. Make sure that if you want to tag her in a post, you just type the @ the A with the circle around it, and then you start typing TRICIA, and her name will pop up, and you'll be able to tag her, which means that she will see her name in kind of a brighter color on her end, and she'll be able to see your question and answer it. So what are we going to do today? Two cards with the Eden Garden stamp set, the Eden dies, and the Ever Eden designer paper I'll be using. And so I get to give you a sneak peek of that. The supplies are listed in the description of this video, and the measurements and photos of the projects and all that extra stuff you'll see in a blog post that is going to be linked to this video. So when this video is done, about a little over an hour from now at 12:15 p.m. Central Time, you'll be able to click on the link, which is in the description of the video, and then you can go over to my website, which once again is stampyourartout.com. And the first blog post that you'll see, actually when you click on that link, it'll take you right to the blog area, and you will see this video again. You'll see the measurements list, you'll see the supplies linked to my online store if you'd like to purchase anything, and you'll see close-up photos. So now let us go in. I love it. I'm seeing your comments. I have to load them up on my iPad here. Hang on. I want to be able to read them right here instead of looking over there, but it's so fun to see your comments roll in because it means I'm not alone. Okay, let me bring up the measurement supply list now so you can see that. All right, here we go. So these are the supplies that you'll need on the left to make these two cards. The supplies that are listed after the grid paper right here would be the ones for the second card that you'd need to bring in. So I'm going to do one card first, obviously, and then I'm going to bring in the second card, and the second card requires the bottom items there. Okay, so pocket card, pop-out window. Oh, I forgot to name... It's not another pop-out window card. I forgot to change the name on that. We're doing a pocket card, and we're just going to do a basic card with a wreath on it. So we'll call that the wreath card. Typo. Oh my goodness, Rachel. And you can see it's dated 10/13. I did it correct this time. We have the title up there, and we have a photo. So if you would like to, you can either take a screenshot now of this sheet, or you can wait until my blog post goes live, and you'll be able to access that. All right. Yay, let's go to the table. Here we go. Oh, I have to run over to my printer. Hang on. And I also have to bring over some dies. Let's go to, oh gosh, let's just take the whole thing over. I told you that I was going to share with you some dies that I would recommend. Okay, a die like this one, this comes from Penned Flowers. That would be perfect for a window. It might be a little on the small side for you, but it would work. This one might go beyond the card, but again, even though it's a detailed die, you'd see this area here, and all of this would pop out, so you could use a die like that. I wouldn't use a big one. Again, this is referring to last week's video, everybody. Oh gosh, you could die cut a fish in the middle, you know? So it doesn't have to be like a window. It can be a shape like we did last time, like a cluster of leaves, or it could be a window like, let's just go to the basic shapes here. Basic shapes, it could be a circle in the middle. So this one comes from layering circles. You could do, I think someone mentioned that they're just going to use their stitched rectangle die. You could do that. You could use one that has a decorative outside. So, oh, and the dioramas, those would be fun. Layering diorama dies. So I hope that gives you some ideas. Just play around with your dies. Again, they can be detailed dies because what you're looking for is the outline for that window, and you want it to fit inside that shape. So Eden's Garden, we're going to be playing around with these products today. This is the Eden's Garden stamp set. These are the dies that coordinate with it. This is the paper, cotton paper, and the garden gems. Again, these aren't available for demonstrators to pre-order yet, Once November 2nd hits, you'll be able to order these items, and you can also order them with the collection number. So let's look at them a little closer now. Let's grab in the paper, because, you know, hello, that's my favorite thing. I'm a paper fanatic. I love designer papers, especially when they're specialty papers like these are. They have a bit of foiling on them, as you can see. Good morning, Laura. And on the back side, we have these designs. I forgot to share the back sides last week. So these are very subtle, more monochromatic, obviously, but little patterns. Look at that one, that's really fun. So if you're into green like I am, you're going to want to get your hands on this. This is, I mean, they really should have just called this Rachel's collection, because this paper is just screaming out everything me. I just love it. All right, let's look at the cotton paper. So the cotton paper is like a very sturdy tissue paper. You can see like a fibrous design to it. We have it in the soft succulent color and in the evening evergreen color. You get 5 sheets of each, so you get 10 sheets total of all of these beautiful papers. And my upline, my friend Susan Campfield, she actually demonstrated with this a technique that has been around, that was like really something we did a long time ago when we had the mulberry paper, if you recall. So she took and cut out a piece, and then she took her paintbrush, water painter, aqua painter, whatever you want to call it, and she took and did kind of an outline with it, let the water soak in a bit, and then tore, and it gave a nice fringed edge of, so you could see the fibers in it. You can emboss on this, you can die cut from it. It's a thinner paper, so if you're looking for paper that can do more of like origami folding, this would be a great paper to get your hands on. So in fact, I have an idea in mind, one that I saw another demonstrator share, and I think I need to do something with this using that paper. So, or with that, using the pattern that she had. All right, what else? Oh, here's the stamp set. You can see that we have that, why can I never think of, they need to write it on the side. Do they write it on the side? It's the, you know, where it looks like it's shaded. Somebody's going to spit it out for me in the comments. You have the dark areas and the light areas, and yeah, it'll come. Someone's gonna say it, right? It's a type of stamp set that we have lately. I'm waiting for the comments to roll in. Yeah, okay. All right, just move on, Rachel. The dies. These are the dies. You can see there's a nice label die in here, and there's one that's a border. Now it doesn't cut this edge. It just does a stitching, and then it has this little part here that cuts. In fact, I'll show you. So you can get this look here. So it does not separate the whole section here. Distinctive. Thank you, Beth. Oh, thank you, Donna and Monica and Leanne. I knew you guys would help me out. Distinctive. Yes, it's distinctive. It's a distinctive stamp set, which means it has that photoed look, as if you've got close and far away items, and yeah. So there's your border die look. And then we've got a couple rectangular wreaths in here and a little branch. So these are the Eden dies. We're going to pull out this one and this one for the first card. And we're going to pull out that one for the second card. And this one for the first card. I've already got pieces that are done, because that's how many details we need to fit into this video, okay? So the first one is done for us. I've already die cut a piece of gold foil paper, and this gold foil paper is the width of my card, which is 4 1/4 inches. So you just take a piece that's 4 1/4 by 1 inch. You're gonna lay your die onto it like this, and you're gonna run it through your Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. I'm not gonna actually do any die cutting for you guys today, and I'm not gonna do any embossing. I'm just going to kind of walk you through. So you're going to layer everything up. You're going to sandwich your paper and your die together in there. You're going to crank it on through, and then you're going to get this look. So if you're a beginning crafter, you'll want to look on some of my past videos because I walk through every step of every card most of the time, including embossing, die cutting, heat embossing. But today I have 2 cards that I want to share with you. So now that we have that piece ready, I'm also going to bring in the other pieces that you'll need. The designer paper that we're going to use is 3 inches by 4 inches. I'm going to zoom in a bit here. And then we need 2 layered pieces. This is going to be for an inside portion of the card. This piece measures 3 3¾ inches wide by 5¼ inches. This one measures 3½ by 5 inches, and they layer onto each other. We're going to need a little bit of ribbon, and we're going to need our card base. I'm going to cut the card base in front of you because I usually do that. I have to do that every video. So we're going to take our 8½ by 11 cardstock, and we're going to cut it down the middle this way. So half of 8½ is 4¼ I brought it to the 4¼ inch mark. I've got my paper pushed right up against the top of my cutter, and I'm going to take and bring my cutting blade from the base and press it forward. And that helps to push the cardstock firm against this top part. I've got enough to make 2 of these cards if I want, but I'm going to set that piece aside. Now we have 2 score marks, if you recall, on the supply list. I have a question for you guys. How many of you craft along with me when we do this? Do any of you do that? You look at the video description before you come onto the live because it does list the supplies there. You bring all your supplies together and then you craft with me. I'm curious. I want to know who does that because I do go fast, and sometimes, I mean, like today, I'm going to go super fast. So 5½ is half of 11. So we're going to score it now. That's the lighter blade. You do not get your blade with the word score on it. I just have done that myself. And then we're going to score it again at 1¼ inch. And I'm going to use this side of the trimmer because it's easier to hang on to. It's easier to hang on to my paper. And we're going to score right there at 1¼ inches. So we have 1¼ we have 5½. We're going to move this, and we're going to bring in our bone folder. I should have shown you the finished card, although you can see that in the preview, can't you? So we're just making sure all of our creases are nice and crisp. We're going to cut our ribbon. I believe we needed about 2½ inches, and then I think it said 17. Oh, Rachel, you need a new roll. I love that my supplies are right behind me, you guys. All right, so we need a new roll of this ribbon, and if we can open this up without having any issues. Sometimes the plastic that's wrapped around the window is really super tight, and I'm finding that to be the case today. There we go. All right, we need 17 inches of this. We're going to use our grid paper, and we're going to measure 16, 17. Grid paper is an awesome tool, and it's great for when you have messy stamping. So we have our pieces ready to go. Let's go ahead and do some stamping now. We're going to bring in this beautiful flourish of leaves, and we're going to bring in the sentiment that says hello there, and our 2 inks. So our ink colors are going to be the ones that coordinate with the papers. We're going to use Soft Succulent and Evening Evergreen. And we'll just ink up our stamp in the Soft Succulent real quick. I'm not pushing hard when I ink up my stamps, by the way. Stampin' Up stamp pads are very squishy. So if you press hard, you're going to have ink around the ridges, possibly on your block. Okay, so now that I've got that, I'm going to go ahead and bring in the stamp partway into the bottom portion of that white piece of cardstock. Some of you try. I love this. Oh, it's fun to read. So there you have that multi dark light look, the distinctive look, right? And that's what grid paper is also good for. we're going to ink up our sentiment, and we're going to do a little bit better than the one that I did, that I photographed, because that one's a little off center. We're going to stamp that up here at the top. That one's tilted a bit. That's okay. We're moving on. And we're going to layer these together onto each other. So let's bring in our seal adhesive. Flip this over. It's always good to put adhesive on your smaller piece, then attach it to your bigger piece. Oh, and before we attach it completely, I'm going to put a line of seal across the back of the top part. Then we're going to grab this and we're going to place it in there in the center. You can use your grid paper once again to find the center. And we're just going to attach our ribbon like so. Okay, so that's what this perfect little spot here in the middle of your grid paper is for making things centered. Then we're going to put a little bit more adhesive back here. We're going to fold this down so that you have just a little bit of ribbon coming out the top. And we'll tape it down like that. And that'll hold it all together. This is going to become an insert into the card. And if this thing goes beyond your card size, you just fold it over when you send it or put it into an envelope, okay? All right, now we're going to make the base of the card, and we're going to put the designer paper directly onto this section here. And you'll notice what's great about this is that the designer paper is slightly taller than that section needs, that section calls for. And that is great that we have the 3x4 size, because if you wanted to mass produce a bunch of these pocket cards, then you'll be able to do that with a 3x4 size, because that works evenly into a 12x12 piece of designer paper. Thank you for joining live for the first time, Darlene. Okay, so we're going to put this down like that, and then we're going to take and add some adhesive back here, and we're going to connect. Okay, so we've got our pocket coming together here. The next part that we do is we add some multi-purpose liquid glue. This bottle is the one that gave me trouble last time, but I started upside down in between last week and this week, so I'm hoping that it will come out easily. I did get a new bottle yesterday though. So when you're going to glue these two sides or these two halves together to form a pocket, you're going to notice that you don't have a lot of room. Okay, you can see here that there's not much room for connecting. So that's why my choice of adhesive is the liquid glue rather than the tear and tape, or definitely not the seal, because that's definitely too wide. You also want to put your glue along the shorter section and not this side, because you won't know how far to go and where to stop. So we're going to go ahead and put a real thin line of glue right close to that outside edge. And this is where thin line of glue is necessary, because you're going right up to the edge, right? You do not want to have any sort of issue with the adhesive squeezing out, although then you can grab that adhesive eraser, the one that Stampin' Up! Used to carry, or you can get them at the dollar store, I hear. So I am casing cards today. Casing, C-A-S-E, casing is a term that a lot of crafters use. And when you first become a crafter, you're like, what the heck does case mean? Casing can mean a bunch of things, actually. I think a long time ago it meant copy and steal everything. But we have not, we don't use that negativity anymore. Copy and share everything. Copy and edit selectively. That's a real popular one right now, because if you copy and edit selectively, then you're not really copying completely, you're making it your own. And I am doing a case of a swap card that I got for this one. So let me show you the finished swap card. So you can see here, this is Michelle Andrade's. She is a demonstrator in my group of Stampers with Art Stars, and she made a little pocket card. I'm going to grab this information sheet out of here. So she made a pocket card for one of our swaps. using this beautiful Painted Christmas, I think it's called. Painted Christmas suite of products from the mini catalog. She has a lot more elaborate details in her card. You're gonna say, oh my gosh, hers is way better than Rachel's, and it's true. It is beautiful. I'm not gonna go into a lot of detail on my card, but I'm going to teach you basically the gist of the measurements. And because her little part here that slides in was a little hard to shimmy back in, as you notice here, and I'm not even doing that on purpose. It's just, I decided to make this section a little narrower, and it worked better for me. Another thought too is instead of gluing along the edge, you could take and wrap designer paper around the whole section of this part of the card. So I could have like a permanent band of paper going all the way around, and that would hold the edges and allow this piece to slide in, or even this piece to slide in a little bit easier. So here we have this, and it's a little bit narrower, as you can see, but it did slide in just a tad easier than the other card. I'm going to zoom in here. Okay, so now let's add the rest of this. For this here, we can go ahead and add some seal across the back because it's wide enough to do that. So we'll just do that right across here. And that's going to come right about maybe a little more than 1/8 of an inch down from the top, kind of like it's centered. Okay, and then we'll take the ribbon and we'll wrap it and tie it, and you can tie it into a bow or a knot. If you're somebody who does not like to do bows, you could definitely just do a knot, or you could even just tie it around to the back and do your knot back there so that nobody has to see your handiwork. You can hide your knot. I'm having difficulties. There we go. That's better. So there's our bow, and we're just going to do a little bit of an adjustment here. Make sure it's tight and so the loops are workable. And if you feel like your fingers are a little bit less nimble, maybe you have thicker fingers than I do have kind of skinny hands here, then you could take and do a longer piece of ribbon, which would give you a little bit more control. Okay, so now what I'm doing is I'm shifting this ribbon by kind of curving the card, and I'm shifting it so that it's in a position where I feel it looks best. There we go. Ribbons take a little bit of monkeying. And then what I could do too, if I really want to, I could stick a little glue dot under there and it would hold it in place. The last thing I'm going to do for this card is I'm going to add, with my Take Your Pick tool, my rhinestone. And these come from the Holiday Rhinestone Collection. And I know that this is a blue color rhinestone, but when you put it next to the light green, the soft succulent green, or even like soft seafoam or things like that, it does take on more of a green hue because it's a bluish green anyways. And that set of rhinestones, by the way, does come with lots of different colors. This is my well-used sheet. So you get 5 different colors of rhinestones on there. So that is that finished card. See, Michelle's is much more elaborate and much more pretty. But this is called casing. So I took her idea and I made something of my own with it. We're going to do a second card now. And that second card is going to involve some blending brushes. We're going to bring in a color that's not in the collection of papers. This color is Mary Merlot. It's kind of a browner type of dark red. I've got my card base done with that, and that is basically another card piece or cardstock piece the same size, where it's 4 1/4 by 11, scored at 5 1/2. I've got a piece here which is 4 1/2 inches, although you probably could get away with 4 1/4 inches. Like, you can make this shorter if you want to. And then the height of it is 5/8 of an inch. Then I've got some silver specialty foil, and I'm going to just bring out all 3 colors right now so you can see them. They're not real silver except for this one. This one's silver. These two have more of a purplish tinge to them. This is the one that we're going to use. It's got a redder silver to it, right? And it's got kind of a brushed look to it. So I recommend a piece that is about the size of your card front, because you're going to be die cutting this piece from it. But if you get really good, you can seriously use just a 4x4 piece. So if you were going to mass produce, again, a 4x4 piece from 12x12 pieces, because that's what these originally started out as, makes for mass producing a lot easier. So what does that 4x4 piece look like when you die cut it? How can you get a piece, how can you get that wreath shape from a 4x4 piece? All right, so what I did is I took and I die cut, let's see, I think it was this end here. So this end from that half of the square, and this end from that half of the square, and then I took my little branch and die cut that from one of the middle sections, which you could totally get two of those out of the right. So that's how I did that. And why did I only want that portion? Because we're going to turn this into a circular wreath. If we go back to that flyer, on the front of the flyer, there is this design here. And V, another gal in my group, pointed out during one of our team lives that they must have taken and did portions of the rectangular die to get this look. Now, when I look at this closer, this is not on a card front. This here looks to me as if it's a bunch of this shape cut out and then rotated slightly to form a nice thick wreath. So these piled on top of each other using the cotton papers, maybe the designer papers and stuff like that. Can you see that now? How that look came from that? So, but I didn't look at that sheet. I just said, oh, I want to make a round wreath. So I immediately went and die cut portions like that. And then we'll just grab that out of the way here. And then we had this left over. So these pieces, and I cut one of them down already to show you. So I cut it right about here, okay? And this one I trimmed in just a little bit right in that spot so I could kind of round it a bit more. And this one I cut in half so I could round it a bit more. But I want to show you what I did with the ends. So I'm going to take and cut, I've already cut it there. I'm going to cut here, and then I'm going to cut here, and we are just going to remove that end so that these can connect and overlap each other. Just can be one continuous flow of leaves, okay? So you don't see that little blunt end. And we'll do the same here, where we'll cut, and we'll cut, and now it looks like we're going to have some great overlapping. All right, let's prepare our pieces. We have two more to bring in. So we have a white layer and a soft seafoam layer that are 4 inches by 5 1/4. So they fit perfectly as a layer onto the front or the inside of our card. When I was trying to case a card from Chrissy May, a demonstrator in my group, I was using white. And I was not coming up with the same look that she had. I was like, this doesn't look right. So I finally took and I grabbed her card. I'm going to show it to you now. Look at this. Is this stunning or what? So I finally took and I picked up the corner and I realized that she used colored cardstock. So not only did she do the blending brush, but she did it on colored cardstock. Now I love the look that she got on this card. I'm not going to get that intense of a look because I'm not using those colors, and I'm not using black as my dark base. I'm going to use the Mary Merlot colors. So it's going to be a softer looking card than this. I love this Halloween card though. So thank you, Chrissy, for your idea. So we're going to put these two aside. We're going to grab our soft seafoam piece and our ink and our blending brush. And again, grid paper underneath. You're going to take your blending brush and you're going to blend it on top of your ink pad. So you're doing circular motions, and that's picking up your ink. And for my card, I decided I want to have a little bit more brighter color to it. So I'm just going to come in on the ends and do a little bit of light brushing right on the ends like this. I'm barely pressing down. I'm just getting a little bit of darkness in the corners like that. And then there's one other area that I want to emphasize and make more shadowy, and that is where my sentiment is going to cross over my wreath. So I'm going to come in again, and I'm just going to grab a little bit of that off of there. And I'm going to come in, I'm going to make a circular start right around here and just blend real softly in that area here. And that's going to give me a darker toned area. I'm going to set the blending brush aside. I'm going to bring in this image from the set, and we're going to now stamp a few little sprigs. So if this is where my sentiment strip is going to come across, I know I can cover the actual end or the cut off part from the tree or plant. So I'm going to stamp here. I'm going to stamp here. Okay, this card, I have to warn you, is going to be different than the one that's photographed in my blog because I messed up where I was stamping these, but that's okay. And I'm going to stamp there. I'm just making a cluster of leaves come out from that shadowed area. That's all we need with the ink. The next step, oh, sorry, not all we need with that ink. That's all we need with that ink. Now I'm going to bring in Versamark ink. So Versamark ink is a clear, sticky ink that when stamped on paper will deepen the color of the cardstock. First, let's punch it. So we're going to grab our punch. This punch is called, where is it? Oh, nope, that's not it. Oh, it's at the bottom. Treasured Tags. This is the Treasured Tags Pick-a-Punch. This width of 5/8 inches is not going to fit into the channels very well. The channels are 1/2 of an inch, 3/4 of an inch, and 1 inch. And we're doing 5/8. So when we lay this on here, we have to look and we have to keep that centered like that visually from the front. But then because it's not got that track to guide us, we have to flip it over too. Whoops, it shifted on me. We have to flip it over, and you have to kind of nudge it with a tool, whether it's a bone folder or something like that, just to center it back there. Yeah, it's not centered. Hang on. You guys know what I mean, right? There, now I can see it. So you just nudge it a bit, and then you punch it, and then you can get that even little end there. Okay, so I've done that to both ends of my other piece, which I have sitting somewhere. Oh, there it is. But we're just gonna walk you through the process here. You're gonna take this stamp, this ink or this strip, and oh, here's my stamp set. And you're gonna take your stamp, stamp. You're gonna press it on here, and it's gonna leave a clear image. Then you're going to sprinkle white Stampin' Emboss powder on, or any color that you want. You could do a metallic or something. But I just sprinkle it on and then tap off the excess. I did some embossing last week, so you can check out last week's video. You tap off the excess, and then you have the powder ready to heat up. You just grab in your heat tool and zzz, you heat it up, and you come out with that. And it's striking. When you have white embossed areas on dark cardstock, it's so striking, as you can see from Chrissy's card here. So we have that done. We've punched both ends, and now we can go ahead and start assembling our card. Okay, so this is going to go on the inside. In fact, let's just go ahead and tape that portion on right there. You know what? Now that this is flipped over, I'm seeing something here. I had this a little tilted, but can you see the stamping on there? So it's tone on tone. So if you let your Versamark ink just dry, it deepens the color of your cardstock. So that's what happened there, because I decided to flip it over and redo it. Okay, so this is going to go on here like that, and I only need like 1.5 inches of it. You can use your grid paper to line things up. Looks like I'm a little off. There we go. Flip it over, take your paper snips and trim, and then we have our little tiny branch somewhere. We'll grab this one. Your little tiny branch, you can take this, and because it's very intricate, we're just going to add a little bit of glue on those more solid leaves. Flip it over and stick it down like that. So why did I do that to the inside of the card? Because look at this cute design that Chrissy has on hers. She's got a little broom there. It's so stinking cute. So I had to case the inside too. This can go directly onto the inner portion. Got a little metallic paper there. That's going to sit inside here like that. This is going to go onto the front of our card. Sound effects required. Love it, Eileen. All right, so that's going to go here. Now this isn't looking that great yet. So now it's time to add our wreath. So this is going to be the bottom portion of our wreath, and I'm just going to kind of angle these in more like a circle, like this. So let's take and add our glue again to the more thicker leaves, the ones that are more solid. Like that. And again, I'm barely putting any adhesive on here. You don't need a lot. You just need a dab here and there, because otherwise it'll ooze out. So then we'll take and curve this like that. So you can see them overlapping just slightly, and press it down. And then we'll grab these guys and do the same thing. And I'm looking over to my left because I have my finished one that I'm trying to copy. I want to do it the same way so that when you guys go to my website, my blog, you'll say, oh, there's the card that she made. And it's not really the one I made. I mean, I made it, but I made it like a couple days ago. This one goes over here like that. And we're just doing a little bit of an overlap. And you want to make it round. That's the key. And this one, you see how I've got this little space here? This is where I can end and have lots of overlap if I need to, because no one's going to see that little portion there. They're not going to see it. It's going to get covered up. So we're going to trim off the end here. And you can do that with a trimmer or with your scissors if you feel steady. And I'm just going to trim this up a bit more too, because we don't want it coming out the bottom. This will go up on dimensionals. Oh, you guys, I did it. I did 2 cards within a video again. I just couldn't decide which one to share. Both of these show off the collection of products, and I wanted to show you them. I don't want to tease you that you can't get them yet, but I wanted to at least alert you to the fact that you can. I put dimensionals all along the back side there because I wanted it to connect to the leaves to the paper too. I didn't want any kind of issue with that, so they're slathered with dimensionals on the back side. But by bringing in the other 2 cards that influence the ones I'm sharing today, you can definitely, you can purchase product to make these, and then you'll be able to get product to make these eventually. Let's bring in those holiday rhinestones again, and we need our red ones. So we'll just start building up. This is the old way I used to do it. Here we go. So we'll grab our rhinestone. This tool is awesome for picking up rhinestones. Rhinestone, rhinestone. I don't have to say that every time. What am I doing? This one's going to tuck back here. That one's going to go about there. And then we have one more small one in the upper area there. And that is my wreath card. Right? Fun. Yes, you can do a wreath with those products. So there's the comparison with those two. And then I'll just open up this one. And we'll have all the cards sitting out so you can see. So again, a big thank you to Miss Michelle and Miss Chrissy May for the inspiration that you gave me in my presentation today. So fun. We'll zoom out a bit so you can see them all. There we go. Yay! Ta-da! Oh my gosh, I can't believe I did it. Okay, so what do I want to give you for news? Besides the Eden's Garden collection coming out, just know that you can always shop for products that are current, like from the mini catalog, which will end the first couple days of January. So you'll want to get your hands on anything from the mini catalog, i.e. this stuff or this stuff. You'll want to get your hands on that before that mini catalog ends. The annual catalog lasts for several more months, so you can shop from products online or from the catalogs. If you are a demonstrator yourself, shop from yourself. If you have a demonstrator, shop from them, please. We need to do prizes. Are we ready? Let's bring in the prizes. So if you've been commenting during the live, and I strongly always encourage you to do so because it's very fun to read through afterwards, then you get entered into the prize drawing. So let's look at the prizes from last week first. Last week we had the embossing folder called Merry Melody, and we had Gilded Gems, and then we had, and it didn't leave yet, the Blackberry Beauty Ephemera Pack. Those were the choices, along with a packet of magnets, and they're sticking to each other, a packet of magnets for each of the winners. Trisha drew 2 winners last week, and one of them responded, and she was from outside the US. So I sent to her a tutorial through the email instead. But that means that all the prizes are still left for choosing, and I'm going to grab my little sheet here that mentions some past winners that I still, I hang on to the prizes for at least a couple weeks. So I'm going to go to my screen now, and we're going to bring up 2 winners who have not claimed their prizes yet. I still have for, oops, it's highlighted. I still have for Marcia Spikerman, drawn last week during the live. I still have a choice of the Blackberry goodies in front of me and your magnets. And then for Kathy Martinez, I still have your gingerbread goodies. So make sure that you reach out to me. All right, next, let's bring in the winner. So I'm going to bring that name up. Okay, here we go. So drum roll, the winner for the afterlive comments. So if you've watched a video, you have not participated in it live, but you comment afterwards, you have a week to do so, and you get entered into the drawing for that 3rd prize. And Arlene Miller, you are the winner for that 3rd Blackberry Beauty set of prizes. So you get to choose from Merry Melody, the Gilded Gems, or the Ephemera Pack leftovers of mine, along with some magnets. You get those too. So, yay for Arlene. All right, we're going to put that aside. We're going to bring in the prizes for our winners this week. Stamp sets. I have lots of stamp sets that have never been touched, never been used, and I would love to give them away. So for those people that Trisha draws in the live thing today, oh, she's already drawn them, yay! We have Pauline W. and Sean and Darcy Dutton. Congratulations. You people need to pick out which stamp set you want, and then if you're watching this after the live, you get to pick from the ones that are left over. So the first one to reach out to me, we have Countin' Sheep, we have Feels Like Home, We have artistically inked. We have candy canes. We have delicate dahlias, in your words, and a Christmas to remember. Lots of stamp sets to choose from. Hopefully everybody will get something that they don't already own. So reach out to me, winners. How do you do so? You want to make sure that you email me at stampyourartout@comcast.net. So thank you, everyone. I don't think that I do want to share one more thing before I leave. Next week, my boys are on vacation from school, and because they're going to have the week off, or a portion of the week off, and because I haven't taken a live off for several months, it's been like since June or July, I decided I'm going to take a week and just, hang out with them a little bit more that day. So no live next Wednesday. And thank you all for understanding. It's bound to happen though. I'm going to have someone come to me and message me the day of, are you not doing a live today? So I'm not. No live on the 20th, but I will be back on October 27th at 11 a.m. Central Time. And I hope that you all can come back and join me. I always have fun sharing. Have a great couple weeks. I will miss you all. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.